A teenager was involved in a car race which went south due to the incoming vehicle making an unsuspecting left turn. The 16-year-old from Arizona decided to defy the stereotype of women being bad drivers by racing her male friend. Although she got severely injured, landing in the hospital with 2 bruised ribs and a broken wrist, Allison won the race and she was very proud of herself for that. We wish Allison a speedy recovery and a hopeful visit to a therapist. A perfect example of why it's better to be late than never. A dashcam caught a driver attempting to race a yellow light. However, luck was not on this man's side because as he was crossing the signal, a car came flying from the right intersection, causing an accident. That's why it's always better to be safe than sorry. A car dashcam records an idiot failing a drift attempt, crashing his apparently new Mercedes into a poor, unsuspecting, low-maintained car. He should have spent his money on a driving lesson instead. A traffic cam records a bus driver passing a red light, causing a road accident. Further investigation revealed that the driver was intoxicated while on the job. He was arrested and ended up losing his license. That's why you should never drink and drive, kids. Never. Alexander from the USA was speeding up to beat a yellow light. However, an oncoming driver did not see Alex. Crashing directly into him, his truck was completely totaled on the impact. The accident was so severe that it was even covered in the local news. The other driver is said to be at fault. Thankfully, Alexander is okay. Suburban house cam records accident in Georgia, USA. It has been reported that the driver skipped a red light, crashing directly into a passenger car, resulting in fatal injuries. More news at 6. It is fortunate that no one died. A woman in Canada was coming home from work when a Porsche came flying from behind. The driver had completely totaled both cars. The driver tried to explain that the sun was what was blinding him, but that did not explain the heavy speed of the car. The woman tried to get his number, but he refused. Afterwards, the police were called and they gave him a breathalyzer test. We do not know what the test results were, but the man was immediately arrested. The woman, thankfully, did not have any serious injuries, but her car was completely destroyed. A famous TikToker was recording footage on his visit to Latvia, Europe, when he accidentally caught a road accident. A Ford was backing up and got struck by a passing Audi, which pushed it into a parked Porsche. The TikToker was initially in shock but got over it and approached the owners to give them the footage he had recorded. Albert was on his way to work when he noticed a woman walk in front of a Ford Explorer, blocking it intentionally. Keep in mind, there is no crosswalk here, marked or unmarked. We have no idea what Miss Ma'am was going through, but she was surely taking it out on others. The Ford driver backed out of the road in a poor attempt to escape her wrath. Thankfully, she decided she had tormented the man enough and got out of the way. The best part is this Tesla driver respectfully pretending not to see. This is what happened when a pickup driver swerved without checking his blind spots. The pickup cut off a minivan, and the driver had no chance to stop before hitting the back of the pickup. As the minivan rolled over like a bag of marbles, the pickup spun into the left lane, crashing yet into another car. Who on earth gave this driver a license? Thankfully, there were no serious injuries. This cyclist from Estonia had a camera mounted to his bike. He was on his way to school when he noticed an accident right in front of him. Like any high schooler, he used this as an excuse to be late. However, his excuse paid off as the footage he had recorded was handed over to the police. The police were right behind the Volvo. As Stacy was waiting at an intersection in Orlando, USA, she watched another driver pay the price for running a red light. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. It looks like that the red light runner was obviously not paying attention. He assumed that his light had turned green. Tony was on his way to work when he noticed an SUV driver get completely T-boned. He immediately called 911 and provided a copy of his dashcam footage. Amanda slammed on the brakes, but she could not avoid crashing into the incoming car. The other driver accepted fault and Amanda filed an insurance claim for the accident. David was heading home when he watched a minivan run a red light and then attempt to parallel park. According to him, calling this parallel parking would be an insult to parallel parking. In all seriousness, this happened a few feet away from a busy taco stand. Thankfully, no one was injured. Edward was going to work in Malaysia, going about 60 miles per hour to make it in time for a meeting. He wasn't usually late, but his alarm had failed to wake him up this morning. Without signaling, a driver merged into his lane. Ed had no time to slow down and slammed into the car, flipping it over like a pancake. The police were notified and Ed made a claim with the other driver's insurance. The other driver tried to gaslight his way out of the situation by saying he'd use his turn signal, but the dashcam video showed otherwise. That's why you should always use a dashcam. Jeremy was on his way home after a long day of work when some airhead pulled across the highway into the passing lane right in front of him. Thankfully, Jeremy was able to swerve to avoid a collision. He says that his sharp reflexes are due to extensive gaming. The driver of a white pickup truck was on his phone while driving. Disappointing, I know. He didn't notice that the traffic in front of him had come to a stop, obviously. That's why the pickup slammed into a pickup in front of it, which further crashed into another car, which further crashed into another car. Molly was driving down a California highway when she watched a white Jeep that tried to merge into the right lane crash into another car and stop the traffic. Molly stopped and put her hazard lights on just in case because she did not want to be a part of the accident. The driver of the Jeep was an old man and he was very shaken up by the entire accident. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured and the driver claimed full responsibility for the accident. The driver of a pickup truck failed to check for traffic before pulling onto the road right in front of Marianne's Corolla. The pickup driver's insurance coverage took full responsibility and is currently covering the $52,000 US repair cost.